Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So today I'm taking a look at Superman Wonder Woman Annual number 2. So my last review, which was a few days ago, was Superman Wonder Woman number 1. So I thought I had issue number 2, but what I actually had was the second annual. That worked out to be pretty good, though, because I thought this was actually a really good issue. As you can see here, the cover looks pretty good, too, I think. So, we'll go ahead and get into it. Now, since this is an annual, quite a few people worked on it, so we will address the artists and writers and all that once we get to each creator's story. So, the thing with this, and I think generally all annuals are this way, is they are a bunch of very short stories. Sometimes they're just pieces of stories even. It's a collection of them, so they kind of either fill in things that happened in the year. So that's why it's called an annual. So it's like bonus material in a way. Often it's things that were left out. So anyways, we start off. So the very first story is written by Peter Tomasi, which is great. He is one of the best on Superman characters. The penciler is Marco Santucci, yeah. And then quite a lot of others worked on it. One thing I should point out is this Yanick Paquette. He did the cover. I really like his art quite a lot in general, and he did the covers on Raven, Daughter of Darkness, and I did the review of that recently, issue number 1 anyways. So we start off, we're there in Smallville, and Clark's looking at a photo album and reminiscing about the sort of relationship that his parents had. So that's pretty poignant, since a lot of this is about the relationship that he and Wonder Woman have. So then it jumps ahead, and I really liked the art on this page. That's why I included it as part of my thumbnail. But it's he and Diana, and they're essentially on a date, but they're on one of the monuments in DC, and they're talking. And it's very similar to a scene in Justice League War, if you've watched that animated movie. So I think they actually got the idea for that part in the movie from this. So I thought that was pretty cool, and that movie does explore their relationship a little bit too. So they get back to the Watchtower, and yeah, they hook up on the Watchtower, so that's a thing that happened. And so the next day, or I guess, yes, it's the next day. So that's Clark. He flies away, Superman, and he goes to Earth. And apparently his parents are dead at the time. I wasn't really up on everything that was happening in the New 52, but apparently Ma and Pa Kent are dead. So he goes and tells them that he's in love with See, I almost said Lois Lane. You're so used to Superman and Lois being together, but he talks to them about Wonder Woman. And this is the weirdest thing. So this is how it ends, this little story. He goes in the house, and he says, I flew off with the best of intentions. And see, in the mirror, it looks like Bizarro. Of course, it's his reflection, but I'm sure that's some kind of artistic thing, like it has some kind of a deep meaning. Let me know in the comments what you think. So, I don't know, it's interesting. And there's an ad for the X-Files. So this one I thought had some of the best art, and what you're seeing doesn't even really do it justice. In person, this looks so beautiful. It's really colorful. So this story, Diana and Superman go to Atlantis, and they visit with Aquaman and Mera. So this one's called Taking a Breath, and the writer is Keith Champagne, and the art is by Chris Cross, and the colors are by Leandro, Ola? And yeah, I just think it's really pretty. Very colorful. I like how it was done. This story in and of itself isn't like anything big. Basically, it's just developing Superman and Wonder Woman's relationship. So he and Arthur talk, and they're all at dinner, and then he and Arthur stay and talk, and then Murrah and Wonder Woman leave, and they they talk about the boys. Like Murrah is talking about Superman, and she says, "Personally, I like a little more swagger, but I have to admit his chest and shoulders are impressive." And Diana says, "I may have noticed once or twice." So, this is good stuff. That's probably what they would be talking about. And then again, isn't that cool? Look at that. Art and coloring on this. Very good. I love it. So that's essentially all it is, though. It's just really pretty art of them and Atlantis hanging out and talking. You can kind of see why maybe it got cut, just because like they didn't have room for it or something. If it was intended to be in a comic. This is like a projection that Murrah's making to demonstrate something she's talking about. So yeah, they just kind of go along. And yeah, really Murrah's giving her advice too, because she's been in a relationship for a lot longer. But yeah, it's just like a good, colorful, sweet little thing that I thought, actually, I think in a lot of ways was my favorite part of this. So then we jump to a new story. The writer on this is Kay Perkins, and the artist is Ken Lashley. Boy, Annual's making me do lots of names. I'm not good with names. Oh, and the colorist is Pete Pantazis. So we've seen him a lot in, Countdown to Final Crisis, which I've done a bunch of reviews of. So we're here in Pakistan. There's a couple of guys. They're just, I guess, sheep herders, goat herders. And then a bad guy shows up. And he's just a big bully. He's like talking about how humans are all inferior, and he's throwing them around. So it turns out he's this big bad guy. And he throws the two guys off, and right when they're gonna fall, Superman and Wonder Woman show up. And I noticed too they kind of went with the a bit older looking Superman, like in this one. So they each have a different artist, but he looks a little older than the normal New 52 Superman. Anyways, they save him, and they're really disgusted, like, how could you attack helpless humans, And they go up and confront it turns out it's like a Greek demigod, so Wonder Woman knows who it is. I forget what her name. She says what his name is. Let's see, it was right here. Dikera, I guess. So he's Athena's son, I guess. He's like a demigod. So Wonder Woman and Superman, of course, fight him. And he keeps insulting Superman since he's not an Olympian. He keeps calling him an underling. So Wonder Woman gets really mad. It's pretty cool. Oh, right here. She picks up this big rock. And she's like, he is not an underling. And she throws this giant boulder at him. Knocks him down. So that's pretty much when they win the fight. And then, oh yeah, there's this part that's really important. He says it somewhere, but basically the bad guy says that he will submit to her because I'm just a warrior. I think that's where he says it. Oh, right here. He says, "Yes, Diana, after all, as a warrior, I bow to you." So Superman's like, huh? So she took him to Olympus to get thrown in jail, essentially, like Olympian prison. And Superman went back to the apartment. He's checking out the wedding ring, thinking about asking her to marry him. She comes back. And the art's pretty good throughout this. They've had different artists, but I thought it's been real consistent. So, he's just taking off her bracelets and stuff, and he's like, I'm pretty sure he says it here. Oh, right here. So when he said, "I bow to you," that means something to you? What is it? And she ends up revealing, dun dun dun, that she's the god of war. Oh my god, right? So not only is she an Amazon princess and Wonder Woman, she's also currently the god of war. So Ares has been killed, and his power was going to go to a villain. So Wonder Woman was just like, zip, and took the power. But this was a secret. She hadn't told Clark before, so they it's not like they have an argument, but they're not happy because she had made this big deal about him having a secret identity, and how he had kept their relationship a secret. So now it turns out she had a secret. So, it's kind of like actually a realistic relationship drama for two superheroes. So that's essentially all it is, though. They just talk it out. Although on the very last page, they're together still, but I don't know, he doesn't look too happy. So it's kind of like we'll wait and see what happens. And then there's another story. So this one's written by Shali Fish, and the art is pencils are by Matthew Clark, and the inks are by Sean Parsons. So this one's kind of a cool little story. I thought, actually, I liked it a lot, and it does follow off of what this story built in a way. So we'll get to that. So right now, though, Superman, he's cooking, and he burns his hand while he's cooking. You're like, what in the heck? How is that possible? So they say he's lost his powers. And then they mention that he'd used his super flare. So if you don't know, during the New 52, Superman had this particular power, and it was only in the New 52, where he could discharge all of his solar power at once, and it would cause a huge blast. So he did that to defeat this creature, whatever. They call it some kind of golem, a galactic golem. So, yeah, he did that, and now he's powerless for a day. It takes him to start getting some power back. So he's just hanging out and cooking, but he is actually kind of liking it because he can't hear. He doesn't have super hearing, so he can't hear all of the cries for distress and stuff. So he's like, yeah, we should just hang out and eat. And he turns around, and she's in full splash page pin-up mode, like, oh, I gotta go, there's an emergency. So he's like, well, take me with you. And she's like, you're powerless. And he's like, well, I could still help. And she's like, no, I'm just going to go. And takes off. So she fights this whatever monster you can see here. And he's just at home. And he's, just reading and stuff. And she's fighting. So when she comes back, they kind of have this whole argument. So he's like, you should have taken me with you. And she's like, you're powerless, so I didn't want to. And he's, the part where he says it too, he's like, you wouldn't say that to Batman. She's like, that's different, you know it. So, I don't know, it's this whole argument. But, I don't know, it's kind of cool, but it's also just like, I can see both sides of it, so it's hard. Ultimately, though, they just kind of come to an understanding that she just wanted to protect him, but he's used to being the one that protects people and everything else. But, yeah, I don't know, I can see both sides of it. Because he's upset that she made the decision for him to not take him, but I don't know. It's like a lot of relationship drama. They're just arguing over something that's not that important. He'll have his powers back tomorrow. Wonder Woman defeated the monster and came home. Like, they should just be happy, right? And that's kind of how it's resolved, too. And she says there are times when it's all right for Superman to be vulnerable, too. So I thought that was kind of a sweet little thing. And the art on this is really, stylized and artistic. I liked it. So this is actually pretty much the end. There's this big kind of poster, double-page splash page. I thought it looked really good, except this is center here is Superman doomed when he had the Doomsday virus. So I don't know. I kind of would have liked it better if she were fighting the Doomsday monster, but I get what they're going for because it's all Superman, Wonder Woman stuff that happened. So pretty good. All right, and then there's just one more page, which I thought was kind of the weak point, and probably why they put it at this very last page. It was just like a one-page thing about Superman looking at the one wedding ring and thinking he's probably not going to get married to her. So it's kind of a weird way to end, but that's what they did. All right, so we got through an annual in only 15 minutes. Are you impressed? Well, I'm impressed if you made it to the end of this video and listened to me talk about a comic for that long. And if you did, I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I mean, you watched it this long. You probably like my content. If you are subscribed, you might want to hit the bell for notifications. YouTube is not good about sending people notifications when I upload videos. Alright, so that's all for now. And as always, thank you for watching and being a part of DC Fans United.